Since the days that the bombs dropped, Europe hasn't looked the same, but it has survived worse. Since the bombs dropped, multiple worlds have opened up to the world, giving up their safety, their people that have been safe for a long time, to let them out and refill the world. For when the world arrives to them, they respond in kind. For those who are in the worst of situations, yet live on in the darkness of the world. And for those who seek to survive in a world that has already been lost, in a world that's almost gone, in a world that is almost non existent. This is my Fallout Europe map series. This is like the first video, so I don't expect much from it. But thank you guys for waiting for a while. The last video I just uploaded, so I suggest you go watch that video. But anyone who wants to check what I'm doing here, or wants to know what I'm doing here, basically I'm doing like mapping videos but Fallout themed currently, because I want to move on to other stuff. As you can see, I have something else opened up, but I won't click on that. That's for some in other videos. I'm working on a lot of other videos, and let's get straight into this. So after like a long time, we see that this guy, a vault called Vault Prime, in like modern day Italy and Switzerland. Actually, it is on the Swiss border, so I'd say Switzerland. Managed to actually survive after many bombs dropped. Like over here, 2 of the vaults. If I can ever make a vault thing, I think I'm going to make that now. I'm going to show you all the vaults. Let me just make the vaults. So vaults, which vault will we make this? So we're going to have a vault. So this is one vault over here, and another one is right here. There's many vaults across the world, but mostly these are the ones that manage to succeed in opening themselves. There's one on the brink of actually opening over here, and that will be kind of a good thing. Well, over here, as we can see, this is a vault. There's also another vault that hasn't opened. Curious to see what happened to that. And then we have 2 more vaults. One over here, and another one over, I think, where do we want to put this? Yeah, in Corsica, because Corsica kind of did have one. And to be honest, Corsica was one of the first places anyone actually wanted to go to make something like that. And also, quickly, if you already liked the video and want to see more of it, please subscribe, as this will help me out in the future. And as we look on, I think we'll have a lot of other stuff to do. So yeah, I'm gonna see you guys back in the video. Let's go. So yeah, we're going to put this right here. Let's put one in Kiev. Yeah, Kiev. Kiev should be like right here. And yeah, as you can see, Russia is mostly gone. There's parts of Russia that are still open, but in St. Petersburg there's only a few nations, few parts of the nation that is able to exist. There's actually 3 Finnish vaults that actually were able to be made, and in the north areas, as we can see, a lot has happened since the Great War. In the Fallout universe, since the Great War, one of them was that the Nordics started to actually be the first places that the radiation and fallout started to reverse itself from. Basically, it's like pulled itself out of those areas for more favorable situations. This is in Berlin. This is the Berlin area, and as we can see, there's also a vault here, and there's also another vault here, one vault over here, and turns out there's two vaults in the Baltics. One's over here that actually gave birth to these two. This vault gave birth to these nations, and this one gave birth to these two. Also, we have the Lviv bunker. Well, not bunker, but yeah. And we're also gonna have the Odessa and Sevastopol, although the Sevastopol is compromised, so I'll put that under this. Compromised vaults we'll see all like that. Actually, I think I'm going to make this a compromised vault. I'm going to make a lot of compromised vaults. Don't worry about it. There's also another one compromised over here. And surprisingly, this one is found out to be compromised too. It does not know how it was compromised, but it just began as that. So it is thought that the vault was compromised early into the whole thing. There's also another vault that was compromised in these areas, and it was the northernmost one due to the high cold and other things. The life support kind of failed. So yeah, these are most of the vaults, and we're also going to see that there's going to be two Estonian ones, one in Pärnu and another in Narva. Narva, if I can say that right, because I'm actually Estonian, so yeah, so we have the Estonian bunkers. We also have a Rigan bunker, but that one, we have actually two of them in Riga. One was for the capital, like the government, and the other was for the people. The government one was compromised. And this was like semi-compromised, so I'm gonna put it like this. So semi-compromised ones are kind of like with a plus thing, while compromised ones are just this. Or should I do it like this? Yeah, compromised ones look a lot better than the uncompromised, somewhat compromised ones. But I'm gonna keep them as that. I think I'm actually gonna do something like this. Now that just looks weird. So this is kind of compromised. And speaking of compromisations, did you know that in Poland, there's actually not two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 vaults that actually were made before the war started. In Germany, there was a lot of areas. There's two in this area, and in what was it? Königsberg, Königsberg. Actually, Königsberg would be that. This would be Copenhagen. Yeah, Copenhagen. We also have one over here in like I don't know. Stockholm. And we have this Oslo. I think I'm going to also make one over here. So we have two of those. We also have one over here, and I think I'm going to make the last right here. Yeah, Amsterdam kind of had multiple vaults. Same with Belgium, but most of these are compromised. To be exact, these two are compromised, and out of these two, actually these three. This one was the most compromised, so yeah, compromised. We also have two London bunkers. One is already compromised due to its closeness to the river, and the other one over here and another one over here actually managed to not be compromised and actually managed to survive. Good luck for them. In Wales, we do see that one of these areas are actually a vault, and two others are going to be just untaken. In here, we're going to see the only vaults to actually exist in Ireland, and these are the only two. In Scotland, we're going to see multiple, one that is particularly right here for some reason, and another few across the whole thing. And now we're gonna go to Galicia. Why? Because Galicia was so compromised that every fucking, sorry for the word, but fucking is what I say. Most, like, every fucking bunker got fucked. Very fucked. So much, in fact, that the only ones that survived were those near the actual coast. We also see that the Lisbon bunkers are still alive, while this one over here was actually quite compromised, and people actually managed to leave it, but didn't really manage to get back. For the Gibraltar one, we also see that. What about this? Valencia. Yeah, island. You don't even get one because you don't have anyone. Catalonia. Out of your guys, and this middle one actually failed. This was because it was for the like high nobility, like basically it was made for them. And yeah, we're also going to see that there's 2 of these rings. Actually 3. I'm gonna make one in around the coast, and this one is going to be the only one to actually get very much unalived. I think I'm also going to do another Sevastopol bunker vault, and for the Russian vaults, as you can see, they're far in between of each other, and there's also, I think, a few Moscow vaults across the place. But I'm not going to cover that. What I am going to cover is this area, as we're going to see a lot of things that will happen here. We see that this vault manages to actually open, and I'm gonna mark recently opened vaults with blue. Actually, I think ocean blue or something. Yeah, this is going to be an open vault. So this one managed to open itself, and from it came a very weird group of people. They call themselves the New Resurrection, the Resurrected People, and that's because they're they're a mix of ghouls and other peoples. So yeah, turns out their bunker was a bit compromised in the start of the war, and when the bombs arrived, they were highly compromised. But they managed to fix it in time, although it cost them a lot of people, and most of them turned into ghouls. So we're going to see that Estonian group actually managed to branch out into many areas, and is going to manage itself quite well, making its first 2 settlements being New Haapsalu and New Pärnu. Pärnu will be also this one will be like their capital for now. It's going to look like that, but happens. We're also going to see that this Riga vault will actually open by itself, and it turns out it was actually mostly compromised, making it one of the most compromised areas, and from it actually spewed a lot of radiation. So much, in fact, that I'm going to have to make this whole area a bit more irradiated. And as we can see, this actually opened because it thought that the radiation in it was actually lower than actually was possible, and the radiation also screwed over whatever else was in this bunker vault. So yeah, we have radiation returning for a bit over here, and once scouts actually confirmed this, they kinda went in with stims and other things. They managed to save a lot of people, and that actually managed to grant them a lot of friendship with people that actually managed to get out of there. And turns out these people were survivors of the whole thing, and they were on their last stims, so they were forced to open the vault door and release the radiation within it. Turns out the vault wasn't that secure in the beginning. The people that actually managed to fix the vault in some way to stop the leaks of radiation actually trapped most of the radiation that was leaking from their nuclear reactor into the actual bunker, actual vault. And their sister vault almost actually did manage to reach them in some form of capacity, because it is found open, but it is found highly compromised. It is not able to be saved, and it's seen as a compromised vault. However, we're also going to see another thing that's going to happen. I'm going to leave the already open vaults for themselves. They're going to be like unopened vaults basically. And we also going to see that two Polish vaults are going to open. One over here and one over here near Warsaw. I think this is near Warsaw. Two different groups pile out from these areas. We have the new reclamation order. Yes, reclamation order. And they will be a small group that's going to remain in the vaults, while we have the new Polish Confederation. Yes, they're calling themselves the Polish Confederation, but that's because they're trying to take as many ghouls that actually speak Polish and try to help them. That's the few actual sentient ghouls. But they also know about this vault here, so they're trying to go over here and see what happened. But after a long time, they decide to stop and at least make a outpost over here to see if anyone comes back from this area alive. We're also going to see that after a long time of actually being able to consolidate and actually be able to I spoke too soon. After a long time of being able to consolidate, we actually see both this vault and this vault that actually managed to move itself into a better position and managed to support us a bit better and retreated from parts over here, as it kind of went beyond these parts around here. It kind of retreated because it kind of found out these areas weren't as good as they thought. And they thought Lviv was still like open for everyone, but they just didn't know that it was more compromised than ever. We also have the outlines of Moldova, so now we know what Moldova roughly is. And we're also going to have a few other things happening. Mainly, we're also going to see that this vault will start to move. And in a very big surprise, this little guy will also move in a weird specific move. That's because these guys have just found them. And they are, least to say, very happy to see them. That's because they are Poles themselves, and they want these guys to join them, as they see these brothers as an ability and helpful, a reminder that they are one of the strongest in these areas, except for these two, who are the strongest ones in the belt of nations over here. We see the new Prussian order, being the darker blue nation, contest this claim, trying to actually reach the bunker to actually investigate for themselves. But seeing as this is a new nation that actually popped up just now, this new Polish order thing over here, I don't know what to name this. You guys put the names down below. I'll just repeat them over and over again. Maybe I'll just make a color code of every nation over here. But this nation, this Polish nation, Gdański, I think I'm gonna call it Gdański. Yeah, Gdański. The Gdańskis are going to actually cut off and stop this guy from actually moving more into other areas, only allowing it to move in that area and actually gain a bit more territory over here, where they are even in a contesting phase. Over here we see that this guy actually manages to use a bit of Garden of Eden packs, a few of them that they actually managed to salvage and reuse 2 times to make the radiation back away from the lands, and actually managed to make it safe for them to actually reach and go over here to help out these guys. In a large trade, a lot of bottle caps of new cola, that's or new Fanta, perhaps. A lot of bottle caps are going to be traded, not like Nuka Cola caps or like Fallout caps, but a different type of cap. It's going to be known as the European cap, and it's going to be seen on many whiskey bottles. And many people who actually have them have actually found them in other places and have just managed to make them their currency. As you can see, they have actually managed to make a very large passing through this area, and have actually managed to destroy this pocket of radiation fully, and are trying to actively destroy this one as we speak. And as we speak, like I said, we are also going to see that the new Prussian order and the Gdanskis are going to have a lot of beef over what happened over here. But when the Gdanskis and the Prussians actually go over here to ask what happened to these guys have already pushed out over here and actually found the second vault. And they've actually managed to consolidate the forces. And I think we're going to go to another area. How about Ireland? So Ireland, what has gone on here? We see that actually all of these vaults have opened. So I'm going to mark them as opened already with a dot. So they're open. But surprisingly, only a few other vaults are opened in the British Isles, except for two. One that has been forcefully opened by something, and another one that's just weirdly closed in the English areas. And this is this one. Garden of Eden packs will be made in bulk to try and reach this area. The first attempts go well, and they are managing to make a lot of headway, and they're also managing to use up a lot of their resources trying to make this happen. But some of their vats actually malfunction, and in their attempts they actually managed to release a couple of ghouls, kind of beating them back from the areas they actually had, but they managed to push back in a very significant move. Although they do manage to do this, they actually have a hard time reaching this vault, and the ghouls that they killed turned out to be from this vault. They just had to spread over all the time. We also see that after doing this, they will attempt to beat back the radiation areas over here, and are going to be able to liberate some of the countryside, but in a shocking twist of events, we see them, after reaching this point, find a whole different group of people who actually managed to actually survive the vault that actually collapsed and make a large community. This community seems to not be aware that they are claimed. However, they are quite friendly and are willing to cooperate, leading to the new English Commonwealth deciding to say that these people are actually Englishmen who actually fought for for England in the resource wars, and afterwards in the nuclear exchanges, and managed to actually survive, making them kind of just material pieces. Although we do see that eventually this vault does manage to slowly open, we do see that it is highly unable to open its own doors fully, so it's going to be able to open within like a few days after help. And what is found in it is a bloodbath. Not only is it a great bloodbath, it is a hellish bloodbath. In fact, it's such a bloodbath, I must remark this as the only red. It's just a inside compromised vault. This is going to be the color for them. Inside compromised vaults will look like this. Also, I'm going to show you a last thing that will happen, and that's a conflict in Ireland. Yeah, two factions are going to actually beat each other. Not to death, but they're actually trying to win over a few things. So you see these two factions, yeah, they have a lot of historic beef. And turns out they're actually going to have a few border skirmishes over this little town. So this town actually has a lot of this guy's people in it that it actually identifies as its own, while this town has a lot of this guy's people, as well as some coastal area that is still its. And these two aren't able to agree on what they should do with these two, and this guy just decides that it wants to invade, and actually does do that. In a shocking turn of events, they actually do invade, but only manage to take a few areas before being stopped. And they actually manage to push into the settlement, but they are unable to push too far as they are actually stopped. After a few battles, the border skirmishes start to actually become real battles, and we see that the 500 men of these people of this 500 survivors, settlers of this settlement are going to actually suffer the most, as their numbers will then dwindle down to only 100, marking the most deadliest conflict of the Irish Isles since its unfortunate opening of these two worlds. In a large move, we also are going to see this this yellow nation make moves on the borders of the purple team, who is kind of preoccupied in other parts of the lands, and they're actually going to take some radiated areas, and they're actually going to annex the areas they have actually taken. They will also take a few other areas that they haven't yet, and will actually occupy them and declare them their own. The purple team is very angered by this, but they cannot do anything, as they are still being beaten back from the orange Irish, and they're actually kind of in the losing position. After a lot of this, 3 months after, in fact, we see that they try again in the southern parts actually, and this time they're actually trying to divert people from the defense of this guy, so they can actually cut it off from these guys' border and actually make an encirclement movement. Although this does go well for a bit, with both areas of their attack actually making a lot of advances, they are immediately pushed back when forces from these two settlements start to arrive, and that's after they actually get the news that they are being invaded again. And this time it is seen that these guys have had enough and are actually going to invade. After a while of planning and construction of plans and actual infrastructure to move on their vehicles on, yes, they have vehicles. It's kind of a weird combination of cars and doom buggies. They actually are the only ones to have those, and they're building them in their workshops. So yeah, we also see that due to this large winning move and their rapid movement throughout the days, they are able to take two of their objectives, one being over here and the other being up here, and they're actually able to cut off and pocketize this little area. Now we do see that a large amount of people from this area are actually part of this guy, so they actually do leave, also giving up this area, and due to this being a kind of breakaway region, they actually are separatists and will join this, but they're going to be actually losing a bit of land in doing so, because they're going to give up some land. In a shocking move of events for the Orange Irish, they are actually going to lose this settlement in a desperate attempt by these guys to end the war with attempting to push into this guy's settlement, capital settlement. We do see that it kind of fails, as this guy's the purple capital is entered and it is actually destroyed in some way or form, being the only spot in this guy to actually have over 150 1500 people actually in it. So yeah, through this we do see that this guy surrenders, and we're going to see a peace treaty be drawn up. The peace treaty includes giving up land and actually a lot of border cap replication. Well, what was it? Reparations, and this actually includes the conflict over here, because these two are kinda in a stalemate now, and in this guy's plight and dark moments, they actually managed to lose this little part of land that actually was shortly annexed by this guy, who is going on the move to actually invade anything else that it can. And this will mark the first episode's end. See you guys in the next episode, and goodbye.